We're going to perform a shoulder internal rotation sequence. This is going to require you to be in a side lying, side sleeper position. You should grab probably a yoga block or something that is supportive for your head so you can lay your head on it. Go ahead and lay down using whatever you've grabbed for your pillow. Bring your knees forward so that you have a nice stable base. Your bottom arm is going to be drawn out from underneath you so that you're resting on your shoulder blade. You don't want your shoulder tucked back underneath you this way. You want to protract that scapula. So bring it forward out from underneath you and pin it firmly to the floor. We have several components in this sequence. We're going to start with a 60-second internal rotation stretch. Then we're going to perform pails, which is pushing up into the top hand. So if you're stretching here, you're then going to perform your isometric pails contraction and push up into the top hand. From there, we're going to perform a rails contraction, that is trying to arm wrestle a ghost and bring your bottom arm back down towards the floor further, but not at the cost of lifting the shoulder up. You want to hold that shoulder pinned to the floor and then try to angle into that regressive tissue there. Then we're going to perform shoulder internal rotation liftoff. So once we find our end range through our rails contraction, we're going to back off just a little and perform liftoffs away from that top hand, fighting for as much range of motion as we get, again, without sacrificing that shoulder movement. Then finally, we're going to perform capsule cars. We're going to come all the way out into external rotation, bringing our wrist towards the floor, and then come back down into internal rotation, fighting for more internal rotation. So we're going to do 60-second stretch to begin, 30 seconds of pails, 30 seconds of rails, 15 liftoffs, and then we're going to finish with 5 complete capsule cars. So again, when you go into your pails and rails, pails is pushing up into the top hand. It should not go anywhere. You shouldn't be able to overpower your top hand. We're going to stop at about 80% of our max effort there. And then rails is pulling away from the top hand, really trying to get as much range of motion as you can without sacrificing that shoulder movement. So let's get ready to go. Top hand on bottom wrist. Your knuckles should be pointing in towards your hip crease and your elbow height should be just below shoulder height here. So go ahead and get yourself into position. We have 1 minute. 3, 2, 1, and stretch. So we have 1 minute right here. Just remember while you're holding this stretch, you're aiming to feel it on the back portion of your shoulder capsule. So you're aiming to feel it in those posterior shoulder muscles. You want to make sure that you're really putting pressure through that upper portion of your scap down into the floor so that the shoulder's not rocking up underneath you. It's very important. This isn't a game to see who can get their hand on the floor first. This is a find the stretch. So whatever your end position looks like, it may not look like mine, it may not look perfect, it may not be on the floor, it shouldn't probably be on the floor. You just want to really hold this stretch the best you can. We've got about 10 seconds left, and then we're going to start our pails contraction. This is driving the bottom arm up into the top hand. You're going to ramp up tension. 3, 2, 1. So go ahead and start ramping up tension. Push the bottom up into the top hand. 20, 30, 40%. Work your way up slowly until you reach your safest, greatest effort. You don't want to pull anything or get anything out of whack in there. You're just trying to apply up to about 80% of your max effort. Keep pushing, keep pushing. 3, 2, 1, and now go ahead and try to drive that bottom arm down towards the floor. Again, do not lose your shoulder. You're really trying to generate as much pressure down into the floor with your shoulder blade as you can while simultaneously arm wrestling this ghost and trying to push your arm down. Push, 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 push. You got 10 seconds left. Arm wrestle that ghost. You can even check your tension by putting your hand underneath your wrist and see if you can apply a little bit more pressure to those fingertips. And done. I want you to stay in this position. Hold your stretch again, just briefly. Take a couple of deep breaths. We're going to get into our liftoffs next. So we're doing 15 liftoffs. You should be in your end range of motion right now. I want you to back out of your end range by about 10 or 20 degrees and we're gonna perform our lift-offs from here. So what you're gonna do is drive further into internal rotation, lifting the bottom arm off of the top arm, taking it towards the floor further, and then bringing it back to the hand. So we're gonna go for 15 of those. Drive the shoulder down into the floor and lift off. There's 1, lift off. 2, fight for more range of motion as you get towards the bottom. 3, but do not sacrifice that shoulder movement. 4, make sure that you're keeping your knuckles pointed at your hip crease. 5, it's find your end and fight for more range of motion. There's 6, 7, here's 8, 9, it's not easy. 10, hold that shoulder down, double check your positioning. 11, 12, shoulder should be really talking to you at this point. 13, 14, here is 15. Go ahead and capture your hand where it is. Take a deep breath. We're gonna do 5 capsule cars. So you can take the top hand away, maybe place it on your hip or wherever feels comfortable. Take the bottom arm out into external rotation. You wanna really, really work to find external rotation. You're trying to take your wrist towards the floor and then circle back around into internal rotation again, making sure not to lift that shoulder up off the floor. So there's 1 complete rep. Go back out into external. We're gonna do 5 of these. Press the wrist towards the floor into external. Drive the wrist down towards your hip crease. There's 2. Go again. Your shoulder should be burning at this point. Here's 3. Hold that shoulder blade down. Out into external. Fight for it. Really try to drive that wrist down towards the floor. 4. 1 more rep. And here's 5. Nice. Take a deep breath, let yourself relax, and then follow your programming. You may need to do the other side. You might want to repeat this again, depending on whatever is in your programming.